I'm Supriya Srinath right here in New Delhi, and let's take it straight across to our top story on the show this evening then. Vijay Mallya seems to have come around and he has finally made an offer. The troubled liquor baron says he is ready to put about 4,000 crore rupees on the table for a settlement with some of India's largest lenders. Mallya's lawyers say that the offer was a result of hectic negotiations with banks over video conference during the past few days. While saying that there was no need for him to be physically present in India, Mallya says the money he will pay before September this year. Now, interestingly, the offer comes just days ahead of Mallya's date with the Enforcement Directorate, which is the 2nd of April.
So where will the money really come from? ET now learns Mallya is looking to sell a chunk of his personal stake in United Spirits and United Breweries to raise funds. While most of Mallya's lenders are not forthcoming on whether they'll accept the new offer, lead banker SBI says it will examine this for sure. Many questions still remain, even if deal is clinched finally. What happens to the ongoing legal cases against Vijay Mallya? Will banks drop the willful defaulter tag against him? And more importantly, will it pave the way for Mallya's comeback to India? That's our top story on India Tonight.
Vijay Mallya can run, he can hide, but he can't escape the law. And so finally, cornered on many fronts, the now grounded king of good times has made an offer to settle. In his latest proposal put forward before the Supreme Court, Mallya has offered the SBI-led consortium 4,000 crore rupees to settle his dues, which now amount to over 9,000 crore rupees with interest. But actually 4,000 crores is 90% of the principal amount. Mallya intends to pay that money by September this year. The court has urged the banks to seriously consider the offer. But lenders have been once bitten, twice shy, and so will scan the fine print first. The Apex Court has asked the SBI-led consortium to respond to Mallya's proposal in a week's time. Meanwhile, Vijay Mallya doesn't seem to be in a mood to return anytime soon. And that's perhaps why his counsels told the bench, led by Justice Joseph Kurian, that Mallya is willing to hold negotiations over video conference as his personal appearance is not required for a man who has paid up just 2,400 crores of the total 9,000 crores he owes to banks and is facing multiple probes at Enforcement Directorate, CBI and the Serious Fraud Investigation Office. This is the first attempt by Vijay Mallya to stroke the peace pipe. The question now is, will he really settle this time around? Where will he source the funds from? What happens to the cases at ED, CBI and SFIO? And most of all, will he turn up on April 2nd? Ruchi Bhatia and Arun Nayal, ET Now, New Delhi.
Now, for all of that and a lot more, and to answer those raising questions right there in our story, we're joined by a battery of reporters covering every angle of that story. Krishna Kumar, Vijay Iyer, Utkarsh Chaturvedi and Arun Nayal join us with more details. Krishna, to you first then. What's the word from the bankers? Are they willing to smoke the peace pipe? Are they willing to negotiate with the offer that Mallya has put on the table just yet?
For now, mum is the word coming in as far as banks are concerned. Only State Bank of India, which has an exposure of close to 1,650 crore rupees, has put out an official statement. Keep in mind, IDBI and PNB have about 800 crore rupees each of exposure to Kingfisher Airlines. And SBI's statement says clearly that as of now, they're only studying the offer made by Vijay Mallya, and that it's a little too early for them to comment. Keep in mind, as far as banks are concerned, where Mallya is going to source the funds from to pay up 4,000 crore rupees is not a matter of concern to them. Also, bank will also have to think about how they will apportion the receipts that they get from Vijay Mallya. But for now, things like the timeline of the repayment and the mode of repayment is what is playing on the minds of banks. Those will be the crucial factors for banks to decide if they're willing to take up this offer or not. Keep in mind, this is an offer made by Vijay Mallya, and as far as banks are concerned, they haven't said anything. They're only considering this. They haven't given the approval. As far as Vijay Mallya's presence here to negotiate goes, as the lawyers have told the court that Vijay Mallya will not be present and only be available through video conferencing. So Vijay Mallya's offer to negotiate the proceedings through video conferencing is also something that banks will only have to consider and then approve. So for now, the ball is clearly in the banks' court.
The ball in the court of banks now. Before we go to Utkarsh, Vijay and Arun, let's get you a word from the legal counsel of the banks, S.S. Naganand, who spoke exclusively to ET Now. earlier today. Here's what he had to say.
I think it's too early for me to react. I can only tell you what happened in court this morning. Mr. Vijay Mallyas' lawyer made a submission that early this morning around 10:30, they had submitted an offer for settlement to the chairperson of the State Bank of India, the lead consortium member of the banks which have sued Mr. Mallya and his companies. And the proposal was formally handed over to the court. The court gave us a copy, and we said we would like to react to this because it has come just now. The bank would need a week's time to look at the proposal. I cannot comment on whether that is good offer or bad offer. It is really for the bank to decide what offer they are willing to consider. It is too premature for us to react to that because just now that offer has been given. They have given a proposal and we have a week's time. We are going to respond. The banks will have to respond by next Thursday. That's the 7th. And so it's really not within my province to tell you what factors the bank will take into consideration. I did submit to the court that in a matter of this magnitude, his presence would go a long way in helping the settlement to go forward at a face-to-face meeting. The submission I made to the court. His lawyers reacted by saying, well, it's not that he is not available. He is available. And he is participating and would make himself available over video or whatever it is. His personal presence here is something which we are asking for in the court proceedings. But if it comes to just discussion, I don't know. I mean, banks may even consider it because it's not just person-to-person meeting. You see, it's a number of things. Consortium members have to be there many times. It is possible that somebody may physically not be there, but the discussions may still go on. So it all depends on how exactly they make their moves.
All right, let's get you one of India's top-notch bankers and, of course, former RBI Deputy Governor K.C. Chakrabarty as well. He's given a thumbs up to the settlement offer that has been put on the table by Vijay Mallya, stating that banks have little in terms of choice given the massive pile of bad loans, and so they should take this with open arms.
There is no other way banks have to become pragmatic. Because if we have a stress asset of more than 1 trillion rupees, we must understand that some loss has taken place. And this loss has to be shared by everybody, by the borrower, by the exchequer, by the banks. And there is no other way. Banks have to come out of this problem. There will be some loss of value. Everybody has to lose, and wherever the industry can be revived, that has to be revived. This is the only step, and it is good that everybody is trying for that. Now, whether the CBI, other things, that is what appropriate government has to see. You may have to appoint a very high-powered committee who will examine the case. You see, I remember that earlier in the bank there has to be a committee, high-powered committee of the high court judges to decide this type of things.
Okay, so the big question now is, well, where is Vijay Mallya going to get that 4,000 crore rupees from that he's told the court that he's willing to pay up? Utkarsh joins in. He's been speaking to a whole host of people close to Vijay Mallya to throw some light on where is that money going to come from. Utkarsh, how is it adding up?
So Vijay Mallya has said that he'll be paying somewhere around 4,000 crores to the banks, but where will the money come from and what's the exact repayment plan? Now we'll give you exclusive details about that. The money will be coming from the stake sale of UBHL as well as Kingfisher Finvest into USL and UB. First, talking about United Breweries, at this point of time, UBHL holds somewhere around 11.46% stake into United Breweries. If you look at the current market price, the price is somewhere around 2,500 crore rupees. Now talking about USL. In USL, UBHL has a stake of somewhere around 3%, and Kingfisher Finvest, which is a 100% subsidiary of UBHL, has a stake of 1%. If you add all of that up in the current market price, the number will come to 1,500 crore rupees. So this is the whole plan at this point of time. Selling stake into both these companies of UBHL and Kingfisher Finvest, this will come to 4,000 crore rupees, but that will only happen once the banks give a go-ahead, and after that they have to hurry up the whole process to make sure that they are able to pay the money by September 2016.
All right, now that offer has been put on the table and it's up to Vijay Mallya to stitch the funds together. But let's take it across to Vijay Ganeshan Iyer, who's been tracking every move at the ED headquarters. Vijay, the ED has summoned Mallya to appear before it on the 2nd of April. Now, as the deadline draws close, what is the sense you're getting? Is he likely to show up? Because in the courts, he said he'd much rather negotiate on video conference instead.
Supriya, as we speak, clearly the big answer coming in from the ED office here in Mumbai is a big no. They are saying Vijay Mallya is highly unlikely to turn up at the ED office here in Mumbai. The primary reason being, if we see the deliberations, how it went through today at the Supreme Court, clearly the lawyers have said that Vijay Mallya is not expected to come back to India anytime soon. Now, having said that, ED is very clear. If he fails to come up on Saturday, that is the given date on April 2nd for questioning, and as per the procedures, they will issue the third summons on Saturday itself and wait for a week till next week. Even if he fails to come back then clearly they will move the Prevention of Money Laundering Act court here in Mumbai and get the non-bailable warrants issued. The primary reason being, as we speak, Vijay Mallya has failed to communicate anything to ED after the second summons. His counsels have not got back asking for a fresh date or asking for more time, and no communication has come in whatsoever of form to the ED till today evening when the offices got closed after the office hours. So clearly ED said they will follow the procedures. If Saturday doesn't turn up, third summons will be issued, and subsequently if he doesn't fall on line, clearly the non-bailable warrants will be issued as per the regulations, and Vijay Mallya will have to face the tune as far as the ED is concerned.
Vijay Mallya will have to face the music if he doesn't show up on the 2nd of April. Vijay reporting live from right outside the ED headquarters. Arun, you've been tracking all the courtroom drama, and even as Mallya is facing turbulent times, he still found time today to blame the media for his plight. Help us understand what happened in the court earlier today. What was the argument really made by Mallya's lawyers, and what was the response of the top court?
Well, clearly Mallya's rant against media isn't over yet. While urging the court to put his proposal in a sealed envelope and not to show it before the media, Mallya has blamed the media for creating a vicious environment in the settlement process with the banks. In this case, his lawyers told the court that settlement process has been impacted because a vicious environment has been created by media against him. That is what is affecting the settlement process with the banks, and he also urged the court not to give this information or the proposal that it has put forward before the Supreme Court in the public domain, and it should be between Mallya and court as well as the lending banks. Now, the court did not pay heed to that request in this case, and also retorted that because there is a public interest involved in this case, that is why media is so active in this case, and because Mallya owned that money that was belonging to public money, that is why media is taking interest in this case. His lawyers went on to say that some channels are misreporting facts and shooting in the dark in this case, but the court has reminded him that he owes public money and he has to pay it. That is why media is reporting it. That is why it is being created, media has been creating awareness in this case of bad debts.
Now, so how feasible is Mallya's offer, and what happens if banks do reject it and not accept it? For a detailed perspective, let's take it across to the only voice that matters as far as legalese is concerned, and that's Soli Sorabji, India's former Attorney General, who joins us right here on India Tonight. Thank you very much for taking time out and sparing time for what is, in fact, an event that has caught the imagination of the nation, Mr. Sorabji. But what do you make of this offer? Do you believe Mr. Mallya is serious about settling this time around?
Well, I suppose he must be put to see conditions, because he can't be trusted. He's been fooling around for too long. And the first thing, if you ask me, which he should do is to pay the salaries of the employees who've been without salaries and have suffered a lot because of the non-payment of their salaries.
So, Rabji, on one hand, it's quite ridiculous that he's not offering a full settlement but only a part of the money. But more importantly, there seems to be a lot of resistance to come back. His lawyers told the court today he wants to negotiate with lenders on video conference. What could be the reason, according to him, that he's avoiding coming back to the country?
No, he can't make conditions like that. He must come back. He flew out of India under rather questionable circumstances. He must come back. He can't dictate if he wants any favors. Otherwise, the full force of the legal machinery should be put in action against him. Mind you, a defaulter is the one who defaults because of certain circumstances over which he had no control. A willful defaulter is one who can make the payment, who has the ability to make the payment, but is willfully, deliberately avoiding to do that. And frankly, I have no sympathy for such people.
That's so true, Mr. Sorabji. But, what do you expect the lenders to do now? Because he's not offering the entire money. Let's not even talk about the interest component that he's not nowhere close to paying up. What do you think the lenders will do? Will they take the money and settle because something is, after all, better than nothing? Or do you think they should push him hard to pay the entire amount?
No. Not something is better than nothing. Suppose he offers a pittance. It must bear a fair proportion to his debts, to his outstandings, so that it all have to be evaluated. I can't say, it all depends. What exactly are his assets, what he's offering, what's the proportion, in what time frame he wants to do it. But one thing I can say, he deserves no leniency.
But, just to understand from a legal point of view, what is the impact of a possible settlement going to be on other parallel probes, whether it's the ED, the CBI, the SFIO? Because different charges have been pressed in all of these agencies, parallelly, separately. I just want to understand, what is the impact likely to be?
No, the charges will not be withdrawn unless it's part of the settlement. Otherwise, those charges should be proceeded with. Look, there, one thing is clear. He is a defaulter. He is a willful defaulter. He has taken the monies of the people of India out. He has been enjoying a lavish life. And now, if he wants to really make amends, he should pay a substantial portion of it within a reasonable time frame or face the consequences.
All right, as I wrap up things here and let you go this evening, Mr. Sorabji, there is obviously immense public pressure on Mr. Malya. He seems to be cornered. He's been in question in the dock publicly now for his very lavish lifestyle. Is he feeling the account on all of that, you believe? And is that why he's willing to settle? He could have done this previously. He did not.
Well, maybe one of the reasons. He may be feeling the heat now. And I suppose he also realizes that he can't live abroad for an indefinite period of time. He has to come back. So therefore he has to make his peace with the authorities, with the banks. But it can't be on his terms, and on terms which are disadvantageous. It must be on fair terms, equitable terms, not very vindictive terms, but certainly a substantial proportion of his dues he should undertake to pay, not undertake to pay, give guarantees for its payment within a reasonable time frame. That's all I can say at the present moment.
Mr. Sorabji, really appreciate you joining us with that legal perspective on India tonight, on that big story that we've been truly on top of all day today.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.